Hello and welcome to Bot Boundaries, where we explore what it means to be human in the age of AI. Today, we're imagining ourselves young and free, strutting into the biggest spring event, Coachella, in our favorite vintage leather shorts. That might be a little hot. Maybe like faux suede or something, a lace halter, and whatever random platform survived our mom's 70s wardrobe. So I actually went to the second ever Coachella in the early 2000s. I think the first one might have been in 1999. And it
Yeah.
was so early, I don't even have a single photo of it. So did it even happen if there's no proof? Well, anyway, so fast forward to today, Coachella isn't just a physical event anymore. It's becoming a full-blown synthetic content layer. Just imagine an influencer who never sleeps, never misses a post, and can be cloned into 1,000 perfect versions overnight. That's the promise of AI influencers. Infinite scale, flawless feeds, and flawless skin, 0 jet lag. But there's a catch. People still buy trust, thank goodness, not just pixels. And this is just one way tech is quietly reshaping every part of our favorite experiences. And today I'm happy to be joined by my awesome co-host, Katie Wilson. Hey there, Katie.
Hey, super excited to cover this topic. I also was an OG Coachella person in the early 2000s. I went to, I think, 10 Coachellas at some point until my daughter was born. And then I've retired from going to Coachella. But I still like to watch the live stream on YouTube. And I was just telling Jackie, maybe one day I'll bring my daughter, my kids, if they're interested, maybe when they're in high school, but they'll have to hang out with me, even though I'm a pretty cool mom, I think.
You are a cool mom. It's funny that you say that. Yeah, the last Coachella I went to was the year before I got pregnant with my
Yeah,
first
me
child.
too.
You gotta hang them up.
And then I got to hang it up. Yeah, I got to hang it up. It was just too hard. But yeah, it was great. And I think like we were just saying, like it's evolved so much, both on the tech side and the influencer side. Like you said, I think I had a physical camera that I brought with me for the first one. I probably have some printed out
You have
pictures
a
somewhere.
photo. Okay.
No, if you lost your friends, like we would just say, like we're meeting up at this art sculpture. If you ever get lost, go here because we didn't have phones. We couldn't
Right.
connect with each other. So it's been such huge leaps and bounds in terms of music festivals in general and how tech is changing things
Totally.
for both the good and the bad.
Yeah, good and bad. All right, so let's dive in on all that. So in 2025, a widely shared story showed how an AI generated influencer was reportedly earning about $15,000 a month and receiving waves of Coachella invites from brands, despite never having set foot on the polo fields. The profile's images, captions, and lifestyle posts looked convincing enough that followers flooded the account with meetup requests. That moment crystallized a new question. If an AI persona can command attention and money, does that change what influence means, or does it expose just a fragile illusion? So I guess people were DMing and trying to meet her in real life. And when I researched what this influencer looked like, I saw that she was pretty much like blow up doll, like stylized and shaped and art direction. So I have a feeling it was mainly one specific demographic sliding into her DMs. Overall today, we're really talking about what can be called the illusion gap, which happens between online glamour and on the ground reality, not just with AI influencers, and in other areas too of our digital lives. Beyond those synthetic influencers, there are also surprising ways AI can actually improve festival experiences too.
Totally.
And what all of this means for influence, authenticity, and the future of live events is what we're interested in. So this illusion that we're talking around can range, outside of this AI veil that we're all, navigating through. It can also be seen in curated feeds, perfect tents, and even sometimes manufactured presence at the event itself.
Yeah, especially on social media. That's a huge component now to a lot of these festivals. It's been a topic for many years, and the concerns evolve as technology evolves with it. So let's talk about what that looks like and how it shows up. So, what the feed promises. Social feeds compress the best moments into a continuous highlight reel. For festivals, that often means luxury tents, flawless outfits, backstage stage shoots. And AI can amplify that illusion by generating images and captions that mimic lived experiences without the messy logistics of actually being there. It might rain this weekend. I don't know if we'll see that in the feed or on the AI influencers, or a dust storm, right? They're going to be maintained a perfect profile feed. The result is the feed looks like attendance, even when attendance never happened. So could you mimic going to Coachella? Could you mimic this with AI, which Jackie highlighted earlier? Absolutely. So why does this work? Why does this illusion work? Humans are pattern seekers. A convincing image plus a confident caption triggers the same parasocial connection that real creators build over time. AI can replicate those signals at scale, consistent tone, endless variations on a look, and perfectly timed posts. That scalability creates an illusion of presence that feels real until someone tries to maybe DM or meet that person in person, or maybe notice small differences. I think about those influencers that are taking pictures on private jets, and then they found out it was just like a backdrop of a jet in LA, and or just like walking up the jetway but never getting on the plane. So when that illusion breaks, the moment followers expect a real handshake, a selfie, or a backstage anecdote, the gap becomes obvious when you start asking questions. People notice when the lived details don't add up. This mismatch between what's shown and what's experienced is what we call the illusion gap. And then there's the reality for most attendees, right? Excessive heat, this year maybe rain, windstorms, sand, lines, imperfect memories, losing your car, losing your friends, like I said before. And so there's so many videos across TikTok showing some pretty elaborate and stylized, beautiful Coachella camping setups in the VIP areas, full like 5-star dinners. These areas like the Safari Camp package, they have glamping-like setups, and they cost a lot of money to do. And a lot of them are gifted to celebrities and other people to post about it. So they have upscale tents, cabanas offered. Also all the parties around Coachella, like some people just come and just go to the parties. And those have elaborate setups, usually at mansions or huge houses nearby. And it might look like they're at the festival, but if you ask any of those people at the party, they probably don't even know who's playing at the festival. So most, the real camping at Coachella and the real people, it's not going to look anything like the glamping setup, right? It's going to be a little dirty, a little gritty, more like Bonnaroo, and, people walking around with dirty feet and trying to find a shower or a porta potty. So for that's what it's like for the majority of festival goers. So the experience is a mix. It's exhilarating to see your favorite bands. There's once in a lifetime collaborations, but there's also long lines for water, heat, crowded stages, limited amenities. Those don't make it into the feed a lot of times unless someone's being really honest. And the real attendees, they trade that staged perfection for authenticity, sweaty, hilarious human moments that build trust and community. I have a great story around this. I went to Coachella all day with my friends, and then we were going to a party afterwards that like will.i.am was hosting something. It was like
William's
the DJ. So that'll give you like
everything.
The idea of like when in the 2000s this was.
He's always he's back. He's always doing something.
Okay, but he's always been there. But I rolled up and I had my Marc Jacobs little backpack on, my denim onesie, flip flops. I'm like straight up like dirty feet, like a bandana.
I could not wear flip flops all day long now. Back then I could, right? I need arch supports.
And there we go past this line of girls in full, like in the club, heels, decked out, perfect. Like they have just come to this party. They were not at the festival in heels, right? And so I get to the door and the guy working the door, he's like, "Oh, you're a real one. You like were really there." I was like,
surprised.
So I do think, authenticity still wins. When brands and creators show up, the messy parts of the experience, audiences respond, right? People like that real-time content. They also show that it's, I'm a human creator with real human problems, Maybe there was a surprise set. Maybe there was a long line. Maybe I got crowded. Maybe I got hurt at the festival and I'm going to talk about it. I think those things are like a lot more interesting and perform better than these like beauty sponsored, AI perfect, fashion forward spreads. I mean, there's a time and a place for that too. It's a huge brand activation for a lot of brands and it makes sense for them. But I think for your average concert goer, like that's not showing the full picture of what it's like.
Yeah. And the average concert goer, there's, a lot more of them, and they're the ones that are generating the revenue.
Totally.
Yeah. And so brands are noticing they're pulling back in some areas of AI since especially this 2025 story. And the numbers do tell the story. So in 2025, many marketers cooled on AI only influencer partnerships. I can't believe those existed. Industry data shows that roughly 30% drop in brand deals with AI only social accounts happened compared with the prior year. I mean, and we've been talking about that, how 2024 and 2025, there's just so much AI hype that now I think across industries, we're all figuring out now, like, what's the hype and where you actually should invest and where you really should keep humanity in there. So your content performs, your ads perform. So yeah, there's some data behind it, So what does that drop mean? A 30% decline signals that scale alone doesn't equal value. Just because you can do more with AI doesn't necessarily mean it's going to add more value to your brand. It doesn't mean you're necessarily going to reach more people, and it's not going to equate necessarily to more conversions, which is, really important when it comes to any business. And AI personas can be efficient, but when the audience feels deceived or disengaged, the short-term gains evaporate. The market response in 2025 suggested that trust remains a scarce, non-replaceable asset. So we can see that AI can both erode and enhance real experiences at the same time. When AI is used to impersonate real attendance or to fabricate endorsements without disclosure, it erodes trust. At the same time, AI can deliver practical human-facing improvements at festivals, right? Organizers can use generative tools to build helpful features throughout the day and turn it around in a day rather than taking months to generate certain tools. So AI is obviously helpful there. Lightweight AI concierge features, I think, are really helpful too. Itinerary builders and real-time vibe trackers can quickly solve real problems like navigation, scheduling conflicts, and even language barriers. Those tools didn't pretend to be people, though, right? They're really amplifying the human experience, and that's what we're all kind of learning, that amplifying the human experience, enhancing things that we already love is really where AI has a place.
Yeah, and pushing things out quickly, I think, was a great highlight. Like at Coachella, oftentimes bands will drop out either, I've seen bands drop out last minute for visa issues or sickness or whatever, and someone just announces it from the stage. But if it's a great app, we can push that notification to everybody. Hey, we're subbing this out. There's always surprise sets too. Jack White just announced he's doing a surprise set on, I think, Saturday afternoon, which is generally a slow time.
Yeah.
When I was there once, Madonna did a DJ set that was a surprise set. And so they pushed that out to everybody. So again, we just heard kind of word of mouth, or I think back in the day, maybe on Twitter, people would start posting and you'd see it. But now, like if they have an official app, they can post that out and help move crowds around or notify things that might be happening. Or with weather, like it's a huge concern that there might be rain this weekend, right? They could give tips for where they could get shelter, where people can go, all of that, where med tents are, et cetera. So yeah, it can show up in really fun ways too, right? So we've seen AI-powered photo experiences that create a whole new kind of souvenir. We've seen them popping up at tech conferences or events like Coachella. Think of these like virtual photo booths or things where it emails it to you, or maybe makes a GIF for you on the fly. These are simple moments that people can use and share on social. And they're also like making photos into more stylized, shareable art. More notable activation, the AI Aura photo experience let festival goers answer a few prompts and then take a photo and receive a personalized branded photo that reflected their vibe. These experiences are designed to be transparent, fun, clearly generated, which makes it not deceptive. Like, this was created by AI, and they often note that in the creation or also on the picture itself or the brand itself. The Method SC Johnson activation at Coachella is a concrete example of how generative photo experiences can create memorable on-brand moments. And I think these experiences work, right? They succeed because they're explicit about it being generated art. Yeah. People are opting into it voluntarily, right? There's immediate value. They get something tangible to take away and share. And that combination like preserves that trust and makes it more of a fun integration of AI, and a more creative integration. Brands can get on board too, but it doesn't feel forced upon them.
Yeah, I agree. I like those use cases for sure. When it's something that you choose, yeah, I want to be placed in this artificial environment.
Totally.
Yeah, and go show my friends how cute this photo is. I think I did one with Amazon once. They had a booth and they did a great job placing me in different scenarios. And then I gave them to my kids when I came home from a conference and they were
Yeah,
cute,
and it's
right?
cute. Yeah.
Yeah, there's another one that wasn't done so well. So again, a lot of it has to do with the art direction, right? So
Yeah.
many concepts that leverage AI are good concepts, but they have like a bad art director behind it, or they didn't even use an art director. They just used
Yeah.
some dude with a keyboard to generate it. You really have to have thought behind what it's going to generate, so it actually the outcome is pleasing, has taste, right? Things like
Yes,
that.
especially for Coachella's all about style and,
Totally.
young and cutting edge. Like you have to have something that doesn't feel like, old and not cool. You have to have someone young designing that and making sure it's going to resonate or not just be like super cringy for folks.
Yeah, no cringy AI aesthetic. Unless
Yeah.
you're at like, I don't know, like a robotics event, fine.
Yeah,
Like that's
sure.
about
Let's get
it.
nerdy.
But
Yeah.
anywhere else, get a good art director involved, please.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's imagine the outcomes of the illusion gap that brands should consider. A brand brings 200 creators to a festival with one simple goal: show the experience as it really feels. Half of the group is made up of creators who've built their following on honest, unfiltered storytelling, and the other half, creators with feeds so polished they look like they were art directed by a studio. Every shot perfect, every moment curated, every angle optimized. And yes, maybe there might be one or two of those assisted by AI, where they label it, but maybe even one of those could be fully AI, influencer somewhere where she exists somewhere on the cloud. So when the campaign rolls out, the difference can be immediate. The glossy creators deliver beautiful content, cinematic sunsets, perfect outfits, but their hair isn't even messy at all. It all looks great, but it doesn't really feel like anything. But engagement, depending on the influencer, it could probably be pretty shallow. Meanwhile, the human first creators are posting the real stuff: the heat, the dust, the long lines, the surprise sets, the little wins and unexpected moments
Yeah.
that make festivals actually memorable and relatable. Relatability is really valuable in any content that you put out there. Their content isn't perfect. And that's really what a lot of people respond to, especially now. It's a real trend, relatability. I mean, we've been saying that for years, but I find it just even more and more important. So on those relatable moments, people like to really see themselves, and that's where you get more comments and the reach just really expands, and that brand activation gets real traction because the storytelling really feels lived in and not manufactured. So thinking of that kind of scenario and how you can approach using influencers or just generating your own content, that's a really likely scenario. So it depends on your brand, but
Yeah.
relatability, rooting in that's definitely the best advice. And the brand walks away with a clear lesson. Authenticity isn't just a vibe. It's a performance driver. And that's what matters. The more creators show the experience as it actually unfolds, the more audiences trust them. And the more they act on what they see. The illusion gap becomes obvious in the metrics. Polished posts may rack up impressions, but the meaningful actions like actually click-throughs, sign-ups, and purchases really come from creators who often keep it real. Sometimes the most compelling content is the kind that looks like real people having real experiences because that's what audiences connect with, and that's what they really believe.
Awesome. Yeah. So a couple to build off that, some practical takeaways for brands, creators, and even event teams when you're thinking about integrating AI. So for brands, like we said, using AI to scale production and personalization is great, but you want to anchor campaigns in real human experience. Prioritize creators with proven engagement and disclose AI use clearly when it's part of the creative mix. We don't want any fake AI bots telling me about what sunscreen they used at Coachella, right? And so for creators, I think lean into those lived in moments and maybe the messy part of a festival and not the perfect moments. Use AI tools to speed edit, create variations, localize content, but keep that core narrative grounded in the real experience. I mean, people want to see the hard parts of it, not just the easy parts of it when you're going to a festival and traveling. So
Yeah, it's fun to see all that.
and that gets shared a lot. You'll be surprised. And for event teams, I think this is the area where I think AI can most be utilized effectively. You can solve attendee problems faster, right? Concierge bots, medical help, dynamic scheduling changes, creative photo activations that you want to push people to. Ship small, iterate fast, keep the human touch. In like customer service when things are important to have a human there. And obviously having on-site hospitality, Coachella has lots of tents, whether it be medical or customer support or people there to help. So you do need a real human, especially in emergency situations. But a lot can be done in terms of crowd control and information on an app, as long as we have the ability to push updates to folks. So we often like to think about ethics in the future, especially when trust fits in, because when brands truly consider that they're the ones who end up the most successful when their users trust them. So when we look ahead, AI can't buy the history, vulnerability, and shared moments that create that trust. That's why audiences still prefer human voices for recommendations and lived reviews.
Yeah, reviews are so important. We can't manufacture a review. That's a good point.
And that you've really used the product, people can tell. So we talk a lot about regulation and disclosure in the industry. So as AI content becomes more sophisticated, disclosure norms and regulatory scrutiny will increase. So brands that lead with transparency will also avoid reputational risk and build longer term value. Right now, it's not required that you say it's generated by AI. It might be in the future, but I think staying ahead of that is going to build reputational trust for your brand.
Yeah.
And really, it's about a hybrid future. The most likely path is hybrid with AI. Will handle scale, iteration, creative augmentation, and humans will provide that context, judgment, and authenticity. And that balance really preserves the efficiency of AI without sacrificing the social glue that makes influence meaningful.
For sure.
So to recap, AI influencers, yes, they can scale indefinitely and be in a lot of places at once, but the trust does not carry over. And we talked a little bit about this idea of the illusion gap, the space between what a feed shows and what people actually experience. And that's really where reputations are won or lost, and brands are won or lost as well. I think the smart play, isn't really to banish AI and say it doesn't have a place in brand work or the festival going experience, or to worship it and say it's the best thing ever. It's to use it where it helps people and to protect the human moments that build trust. In a world where anyone can generate a perfect image, the rarest commodity will be the imperfect, unforgettable stories that only a real person can tell.
Yeah.
And I think especially festival moments, it's all about that return to being in person, being with your friends, being with artists in person, and seeing those once in a lifetime moments that, yes, we can see that over a live stream, but it's so different being there in person. And I think people feel that.
Yeah, live music is amazing. So,
Jackie, do you want to share your top Coachella highlight that you saw in person?
I saw the first one I went to, I was living in a house with a bunch of rappers, and they were actually performing at that first Coachella.
Amazing.
And I honestly, I don't remember much of that Coachella. I really don't. But the second Coachella I went to right before, I got pregnant with my first child, I saw Madonna when she had that that dance album, which is my favorite.
That came out when I was in college. Yeah, so music.
That one was so good. So
good.
Yeah, she was amazing. And then at that same show, I think I saw Paul Oakenfold, right? He was
nice.
Remember he did Transport in the late 90s. So he was really old school. I used to like to go to raves and stuff.
Yeah,
so that was
awesome.
a big deal.
Yeah, I'm more of a rock girl, so I've seen it was cool. I think when I started going to Coachella, because you get a lot of legacy acts like a Paul McCartney or, the Pink Floyd floating the giant pigs over the audience and stuff like that, which was super cool. But then you'd also get new acts. I saw MGMT when they were starting out a super small stage during the day with maybe 50 people. So super cool. I think probably the biggest one was when Jay-Z performed, and Snoop Dogg came out and they had the hologram Tupac,
I remember
rap.
that.
Yeah. Okay. And
I
then
remember seeing it.
I
I
was
wasn't
towards
there.
the back, and a guy next to me was like, "Yeah, I told you he's not dead." Like people thought it was real.
That guy
So
would
some
die with
people,
AI today.
yeah, now
Is
you could
he
do it with AI.
okay?
But that was like a big thing. The Tupac hologram was definitely like very talked about thing. And it was when like streaming was, they weren't streaming on YouTube yet. So a lot of it was just on Twitter or people posting about it. So that was really cool. And then of course,
Yeah.
Kanye coming through the audience on a crane was super
Oh
cool.
wow, yeah.
When he did My Beautiful Dark Fantasy album, that was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, those all sound like great experiences. Yeah. I mean, now that I'm thinking like Massive Attack, I think Massive
Yeah,
Attack was that the
Massive
first one
Attack.
that I went to.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Or was it the second one? I don't know, but Massive Attack was pretty cool. And then Metric. I saw
Oh, love
Metric
them.
for the first
Yeah.
time, and she's amazing. And that was just so hype. There were no phones out. Like I have no pictures, right? There were no phones
Yeah.
taking pictures back then. So Metric was really, really memorable, actually. It's like so hype, so cool. Anyway, great memories, Katie. Now let's move on to Love It or Leave It, our fun segment. Apparently, we've reached the era where robots with dog bodies and billionaire realistic faces are roaming the streets of San Francisco. Is this what you want to bump into when you're out grabbing your morning coffee? A metal greyhound wearing Elon Musk's face staring back at you like it's about to pitch its next dystopian startup. Love it or hate it, Katie?
Absolutely hated. I would be terrified if this thing approached me anywhere. I saw that it was an art installation, like an artist did it as like a commentary, I think, on like tech billionaires. And I've also seen one
That
where
was a while ago.
like yeah, them and Zuckerberg, they were like in a circle, like kind of fighting each other.
Yeah.
So I think it's based in like a commentary and artistic, like it's not meant to be cool. But yeah, this is terrifying. I do not like the realistic head. We'll share the image, but I would not into this. How about
No,
you?
no, definitely leave it because of that face. Yuck. Agree. Okay.
All right, all right. And it reminds me of, I don't know if like you ever had this at your work, but we had it at Google for a while where like there was like this robot where it was like a tablet of a face, so you could FaceTime with people, but it could move around.
Yes,
and, like,
I remember
talk to
that.
you. And so if like someone, like the idea was if someone was sick or at home or like in another country, they could join a meeting and like present and be there. But now with Zoom, it's like we don't need a robot
so
Zoom.
funny.
Like just have a screen. We don't need
That
to
poor
walk around
company who made that, they're gone
and
now.
like check in on me and like be behind me. Hi, Katie. I'm like, oh, who are you? So yeah, that didn't really go very far, but that reminds me of that creepy factor. No, thank you. Up next, the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. Cool or undercover creep vibes. Out in the wild, the glasses are getting a reputation, not always the good kind. Some men have been using them to secretly record women, which is undeniably creepy, but sadly not surprising. A few viral clips even show other men stepping in and calling them out. Like, are you recording people? Or making it clear that if you're making someone uncomfortable, you're the problem, not the tech. But there's another side of the story too, as always. One or more wholesome viral moments came from a creator using Meta glasses, hands-free camera to help a visually impaired friend navigate a crowded festival, turning the tech into a real accessibility win. So it's a reminder that the same tool can be misused, but it also can be used for good and making life a little easier. Love it or leave them, Meta glasses.
I mean, I kind of want a pair, but I guess I have to leave them after I saw, those guys going around and harassing women.
Yeah, that's gross. I think I'm just not a fan of, even like Google Glass when it came out, I tested it, but like I'm just not a fan of wearable tech. I just think that, especially on the eyes, like I don't want to know. I think you really need to know if someone's recording you, even if it's like a
I
tiny red
agree.
light, like or something. Like just the idea that you're going to record every moment. I think like that, like
invasive.
part of it takes out the good that can come from it. Now there are good uses. You're wearing the glasses and you're doing surgery, and there's like I've seen amazing videos of like ways that it can help surgeons or people in a warehouse or people doing car repair. Like there could be cool uses to wearable eyeglasses in certain fields, but in just like personal use, I think it's a little creepy. I think, they look cool, and Meta's definitely like partnered with Ray-Ban and they're trying to like do a big marketing and fashion push for them. But yeah, it's a no for me. I don't love like the idea of like people being able to record me or my kids at any time.
Ooh, good point. The kids.
Yeah.
Okay, leave it max now. Yeah, okay, so one more. So Sarah V on TikTok had a video with an AI animated Sarah V bottle with a cartoon aesthetic mouth and eyes looking angry in one shot and then surprised in another shot. And it was just like, it's just these faces on a bottle. So
Yeah.
love it or leave it.
I love a good animation where like you're making a non person. What's the word for it? When you make an item into a person,
Humanized, I guess.
basically. Yeah. Like when you make a static item into a person like with googly eyes or something, I think it's cute. I love it. I love like having human features on like a milk carton or something cute if it's useful. Like and it's cute for the sake of being cute, not so much. But if it's like something that's relating to kids or something that's like related to like, oh,
Yeah.
there's a reason we're putting a face on this, right? And
Yes.
there's a reason that makes it cute. I think it actually looks pretty cute. Like
Yeah.
I thought it was
But I don't
cute.
know. I don't know.
But I don't know who's their target demo. Is this really like bringing in new people for them, or is the goal just for it to be shareable on social?
Yes. Okay. So are you love it slash leave it?
I'm loving the concept, not loving this brand integration of it.
I agree. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be a leave it because the animation itself was fine, right? The technical quality
Yeah,
of
looks
it,
cute.
yeah. But the art direction was just very generic. It's not clear
Yes.
on who they're trying to attract. And for that brand, CeraVe, it just didn't make sense. I just don't
No.
understand why. But I don't think they used it for an ad, which is good. It's just a simple post on TikTok, and maybe they're just testing the direction. It seems like, a lot of brands are just throwing out AI videos to just see what happens. And if that's the case, I totally get it for testing, but I'm going to leave it though.
Yeah. We see this a lot. I think we'll continue to see like AI for the sake of AI or making something cute for the sake of it, but we don't really know what the use case is or who the customer they're trying to target is.
Yeah, wasn't clear. Well, that was fun. Thanks, Katie. So, as we
Yeah.
close today, now that we can experience how AI influencers can scale endlessly, it's clear the real magic still comes from experiences that feel lived and not manufactured. As we move into the future, the sweet spot won't be choosing between technology and humanity, but letting tech enhance what's real instead of replacing it. If we can hold on to authenticity while embracing innovation, we can get a future that feels both connected and genuinely human, which we all can enjoy. So good seeing you today, Katie. Just a reminder, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn under Katie Wilson and my company name, Serious Moonlight Consulting, and on Instagram at Serious Moonlight Consulting. How about you, Jackie?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn at Jackie Gutierrez and on Instagram and TikTok at Business Growth Gal. And please follow Bot Boundaries on at Bot Boundaries on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Thanks for listening, everyone. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We're available on all platforms and YouTube. Bye, Katie.
Bye.